What's up guys, welcome back from the Yugioh Pro Tool video. The new Simorgh archetype was revealed yesterday. Finally got some time to playtest them past a couple of hours, and well, after a lot of those, I'm like, this card lacks like a couple of power cards. There are still a lot of problems with this archetype, but let's face it, this is still the first wave. Can we expect more support? That's possible, but yeah, anyway, the archetype is like a combination between monarchs, I guess. Well, it's focused on tribute summoning with this first wave, and some negation as well. Abujins, maybe? I mean, the smaller monsters, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, all definitely quite solid. They all have the similar second effect, is that when they're in your graveyard and your opponent does not control any spell or traps in his regular spell and trap card zone, you can special summon them to your side of the field. So very similar to Paleozoic, that's the correct comparison. So basically Paleos. So again, when they are sent to the graveyard, after their special summon from the graveyard, they'll be banished. So again, very similar to Paleozoics. The first effect depends, right? They have an extra normal summoner, they have a Stratos, only works upon normal summon, they have an Armageddonite, only works upon normal summon, and they have like a Breaker, the magical warrior, of bouncing back one spell or trap from your opponent. This feels, I might be wrong, but this feels like the most desired setup when going first, or well, in any situation, I guess, is getting the wind on the field first. Their field spell lets you, at least gives you, the extra normal summon for Simorgh monsters, so basically very similar to Monarchs, giving you, well, here in this case, the extra tribute summon for the level 8 wind. The level 8 wind also has an effect that as soon as a spell or trap is activated, if I'm not mistaken, you can tribute another or a wing beast on your side of the field to send something from your opponent back to the deck. So it's like a wing blast once per turn. But downside is that you have to tribute one wing beast on your side of the field. That's cool since, well, the smaller monsters are basically treeborn for, oh yeah, Paleozoics, right? So you can tribute them. Small downside again is that those monsters are, or their stats isn't really that high. So a good opponent, or well, if your opponent knows how to play against this deck, they'll just attack the monsters first and then, you know, use their effects. Then again, if it's not possible, it's still this particular setup is not that hard to get, since the archetype also has a pendulum call, you know, discard something and then search too. I feel in most situations you're going to search out the wind Stratos, the level 2 here, that's now banished, and in my hand, since the Stratos again basically searches your entire deck, and well, you have to like search one dark and one wind, so you're basically searching either the both boss monsters or the new darkness Simorgh, the new boss monster, and well, possibly the Stratos or the new level 8 wind boss monster. I'm not running the old school dark Simorgh. I've dropped it from the main deck. It's definitely an option, but I don't think it's since, well, you need monsters in your graveyard to banish them for the cost of Dark Simorgh to get it on the field, but that's not really how this archetype works. It feels, right? You want to keep your low level monsters in the graveyard, use their special summoning effect, etc, etc. So the old school Dark Simorgh, well, maybe using tribute summon to get it on the field with, you know, the good old school combo with anti-spell fragrance, but I don't know, that seems very lackluster, again, depending on maybe future support. But one of the things I found is that the archetype still lacks power / consistency. Okay, you can do some cute stuff, going first, going second, get those couple of boss monsters on the field, and you know, have some negations, since the darkness, the new dark Simorgh, the dark one, is like a Diablos. When you tribute summon, you can special summon it either from your hand or from the graveyard. So it's quite good, quite decent, but it needs more, and I feel that they are lacking a good link monster. Let's say maybe a link 1. Link Rebo should probably, by the way, be here in the main deck. But yeah, they're lacking a good Link monster. Link 1, Link 2, get them in your graveyard, reborn them again, keep Link upgrading, that might be an option. Maybe some extra searches, some extra, at least something to boost their consistency and to give them more power, since the problem here is that the deck is super vulnerable to hand traps. And as you saw in the list is that this particular list, 40 cards straight here in the main deck is running double pot, or both pots, Pot of Desires and Pot of Extravaganza. It might be dangerous, you know, if you draw the other one, or either the second copy of Desires or Extravaganza, depending on which one you activated. But I think that's a chance you have to take, since the extra card is super beneficial, especially for such not a strong archetype, or not a super consistent archetype, as in, well, vomit your entire hand to the field, pump out multiple negations. That's not how Simorgh works, right? So yeah, it still feels a little lackluster, but again, as mentioned before, like a good Link monster, Link 1, Link 2, give them an extra search or an extra creative effect, that would definitely help out a lot. So again, the desired setup of the wind can banish something, you know, well, not banish, but send something back to the deck from my opponent if at any point me or my opponent activate a spell or trap, but you know, you have to tribute another or a wing beast on your side of the field. The darkness, Simorgh can negate a spell or trap, so that's definitely very solid, again by the small cost of tributing a wing beast. So you can definitely tribute itself for the cost, but yeah, again, very similar to Diablos, I guess. Normal summon level 4. Level 4 is like the breaker of bouncing back a spell or trap from your opponent, so that's, you know, like the archetype, bounce or keep your opponent or prevent your opponent from having like back rows, and then you can use their grave effects. I'm not running their themed Giant Tornado. I had it in there, but first turn it's such a terrible card. It's searchable as well, so you might want to tag one, but I prefer Twin Twister over it. Both are very similar, but Twin Twister destroys, while the quote-unquote Giant Tornado for the archetype just bounces back all cards. So again, depends which card you want to main deck, but I personally prefer Twin Twister. I think going first again, getting the extra searches, yeah, I mean, going first, the Stratos is so crucial. The level 2 is the Stratos or the Pendulum Call. One of those two, and then you're set to go. Then you kind of have a good hand, but, well, as I mentioned before, hand traps, Ash Blossom just dumps on this deck, right, because of the multiple searches. The field spells also quite crucial. It gives you the extra tribute summon, or the extra normal summon, by the way. Just, you know, gain some advantage. Set up your graveyard. Let's say if you have the Armageddonite, which is the level 3 if I'm not mistaken. Depends on your hand, of course, but in most situations I feel you should be sending the level 8 Wind, your new Simorgh Wind, Lord of the Storm, because when it's in your graveyard and a Simorgh monster is destroyed by battle, you can just get it back from your graveyard. So again, quite decent. I mean, the dark type definitely has potential, but still a consistency. Give them a good Link monster. Link 1, Link 2, some bigger boss monsters, a powerful trap. They currently have one trap card, but I don't feel it's that great. Stormfort can definitely be in the main deck. It has been going in and out, but you know, the archetype is quite focused on tribute summoning, so Stormfort definitely can have a place in the main deck. And I'm probably going to test out another variant of the deck with Dangers. I mean, it speaks for itself that Dangers is quite solid with, or should be, in theory, should be quite solid with this archetype because of their graveyard effect. So it's still, again, theory, but I mean, in theory it sounds great, Dangers with Simorgh, but again, if you play tested this, let me know, and that counts for the whole deck list. Like always, feel free to you know, give suggestions. But again, the problem here is that, well, it's quite easy for the opponent to play around it and to play around your monsters in your graveyard. They can just set their spells, their useless spells, for example, and then you can't use your in-grave effects of special summoning the smaller monsters. Okay, the Giant Grenade can help, but, well, that only bounces, and okay, you can discard something, but there are multiple situations. In most situations, it doesn't really feel optimal of discarding something for your Giant Grenade. So again, the archetype definitely is, it's a good start, but it needs more. Domain, Stormfort, as you see here in the quote-unquote extra deck, the old school Dark Simorgh, Anti-Spell, Fragrance, Safe Zone maybe, the Solemn Brigade. A Solemn Brigade maybe, but I prefer some versatility with the Impermanence and the Blackwing, no, the Harpy trap cards, very solid by the way. But it's definitely quite of an iffy card. So anyway, okay guys, like always, feel free to leave suggestions. I have high hopes for this archetype, but again, they need more. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.